Chosen one, listen carefully. I have an urgent and important message to deliver today, and this message is not for everyone. If you do not walk the divine path of God, if your heart is not aligned with truth, you will feel uncomfortable and you will leave. But if you are truly chosen, if you are a sincere follower of God, you will stay because this message was guided to you at the exact right moment. This did not reach you by accident. Heaven arranged this encounter. What I am about to share will change how you understand yourself and how you interpret what you have been experiencing. It will bring clarity, peace, and strength to your spirit. Many of you have felt it already. People look at you longer than normal. Their eyes linger, yet their mouths remain closed. They stare at you, but they say nothing, and it leaves you wondering why. By the end of this message, you will understand the spiritual reason behind that silence, and you will stop questioning yourself. Stay with me until the end because there is something you must hear that will settle your heart deeply. Before we continue, chosen ones, give a like to this video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, turn on the bell icon, and share this message with other chosen ones so they can receive this revelation as well. Comment 444 to declare that you are divinely protected and fully aligned with what God is doing in your life. Section 2. The Invisible Mark. Why your presence disrupts rooms. Chosen one, I want you to settle your mind for a moment and listen calmly. What you are experiencing is not random, and it is not psychological imagination. There is something placed upon you that cannot be seen with human eyes, yet it is deeply felt. Scripture speaks of it in many forms, but today I will explain it in a way your spirit can understand easily. God places an invisible mark on those He chooses. Not a mark of pride, not a mark of superiority, but a mark of assignment. This mark is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not demand attention. Yet it carries weight, and wherever weight enters a room, it shifts the atmosphere. That is why you can walk into a place quietly and still feel eyes turned toward you. You did not say anything. You did not do anything unusual. But something in the room changed when you arrived. People do not always stare because they admire you. Sometimes they stare because their inner world was disturbed. Your presence interrupts patterns they are used to. You carry order into chaos without trying. You carry calm into noise without effort. That is not something you learned. That is something God formed into you over time, often through pressure, solitude, and silence. I want you to understand this clearly so you stop questioning yourself. Your presence speaks before your mouth ever opens. Long before you say a word, something in you has already communicated. It communicates integrity. It communicates restraint. It communicates depth. Many people are not used to being around someone who does not leak insecurity into the room. Most people enter spaces carrying the need to be validated, noticed, or approved. They talk quickly. They explain themselves. They try to fill silence because silence exposes them. But you are different. You are comfortable being still even when you do not realize it. You are anchored, and that anchor creates tension in those who live emotionally ungrounded lives. That is why the staring often comes with silence. They are trying to read you. They are trying to place you into a category that makes sense to them, but you do not fit their usual boxes. You are not loud enough to dismiss, you are not weak enough to overlook, and you are not familiar enough to control. So they observe. Chosen one, this is important for your healing. The silence you receive is not rejection. It is not disrespect. It is recognition mixed with uncertainty. Your spirit carries a kind of authority that does not ask permission, and authority makes people pause. It makes them measure their words. It makes them cautious even when they do not consciously know why. There are people who sense that you see more than you say, that you understand more than you reveal. That awareness alone can be unsettling. When someone realizes they cannot easily read you, they instinctively slow down. They watch. They become quiet, not because you threaten them, but because something in them feels exposed in your presence. I want to speak gently to your heart now. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. You are not meant to dilute what God placed upon you. You are not meant to perform smallness so others can relax. The discomfort you trigger is not cruelty. It is contrast. Light does not apologize for revealing what darkness tried to hide. Many of you were trained by life to stay quiet, to blend in, and to avoid attention. God allowed that season to shape humility in you. But now you must understand this truth. Even in silence, you are seen. Even when you say nothing, your presence testifies, and people feel that testimony before they ever understand it. This invisible mark also attracts attention from those who are spiritually hungry. Some stare because they feel safe near you. They may not know why, but something in your calm steadies them. Others stare because they feel judged by their own conscience, not by you. Some stare simply because they recognize strength that does not need to prove itself. You must learn to sit peacefully in that reality. You do not owe anyone an explanation for why you carry yourself the way you do. God shaped you deliberately. He allowed pressure to refine you. He allowed silence to mature you. He allowed misunderstanding to strengthen you. Now, when you enter spaces, the residue of that process goes with you. Let me say this slowly so it settles deep within you. You are not intimidating because you are aggressive. You are unsettling because you are grounded. You are not watched because you are strange. You are watched because you are rare. Stability in a broken world feels foreign to many people. The invisible mark you carry also serves as protection. It creates distance without hostility. It keeps access limited without you having to enforce it. God did not design you to be easily accessed by everyone. Some doors close simply because your presence reminds people they cannot manipulate you. And here is where peace enters your mind. You do not need to fix this. You do not need to soften it. You do not need to become more approachable by lowering your standards or dimming your awareness. What God placed on you is intentional. It will attract who is meant to come close and repel who is not. So the next time you notice the stares, breathe calmly. Do not tense up. Do not question yourself. Do not rush to fill the silence. Let them observe. Let them feel whatever rises within them. Your assignment is not to manage their reactions. Your assignment is to remain aligned. Chosen one. Your presence disrupts rooms because it carries truth without noise. And truth does not argue. It simply stands. Section 3. When spirit recognizes spirit and fear stays quiet. Chosen one, I want you to breathe slowly as you listen to this part because this is where many misunderstandings finally dissolve. Not every stare you receive comes from confusion. Some come from recognition. And recognition, when mixed with fear, often produces silence. There is a level at which spirit recognizes spirit before the mind has time to explain it. This recognition does not need language. It does not need introduction. It happens quietly, deeply, and instantly. When you encounter certain people, something inside them senses that you are not ordinary, even if they cannot explain what makes you different. And that moment of sensing creates a pause. Many people live their lives reacting, not discerning. So when they suddenly feel something they cannot control or categorize, their instinct is to stop talking. Words feel unsafe in that moment. Silence becomes their shield. You must understand this so you stop internalizing reactions that were never about you personally. Some people grow quiet around you because they feel seen in a way they are not used to. You do not stare into their soul intentionally. You are not judging them. But your presence carries awareness, and awareness makes hiding difficult. There are individuals who sense that you walk with God closely. They may not use those words, but their spirit understands authority when it encounters it. And authority does not invite casual behavior. When people feel it, they instinctively measure themselves. They become cautious. They choose silence because speaking loosely feels risky. This is why you often notice that confident, talkative people suddenly become reserved around you. It confuses you. You wonder if you did something wrong. You didn't. What happened is that their usual social mask did not work in your presence. And when a mask slips, fear rises quietly. Fear does not always look like panic. Sometimes it looks like respect mixed with restraint. Sometimes it looks like someone watching you carefully, listening more than speaking, unsure how to approach. That kind of fear is not hatred. It is uncertainty about how to engage someone who feels spiritually grounded. Chosen one. There are people who sense your future before you fully step into it. They feel that you are becoming something even if you yourself are still walking through the process. That awareness unsettles them. When someone senses that you are ahead on a path they abandoned or never had the courage to walk, silence becomes their defense. I want to say something important here gently and clearly. Not everyone who goes quiet around you is against you. Some are processing. Some are measuring their own lives. Some are wrestling with conviction. They did not expect to feel what they felt that day. Your presence becomes the mirror they were not prepared to look into. Scripture shows this pattern repeatedly. When prophets entered spaces, people did not always rush to speak. They watched, they listened, they waited. There was weight in the room. Even kings paused their words in the presence of someone carrying divine insight. Not because the prophet demanded silence, but because truth demands reverence. You are not walking around trying to be deep. You are not trying to intimidate anyone. But you have learned how to listen more than you speak. You have learned how to carry yourself without chasing attention. And that alone separates you from many people who survive on noise. Noise is a distraction from fear. Silence forces honesty. When people become silent around you, it is often because they cannot distract themselves from what they feel in that moment. So they watch, they study, they wait for you to reveal something that explains why they feel the way they do. This is where your peace must come in. You are not responsible for easing their discomfort. You are not required to perform friendliness to dissolve their fear. You are allowed to remain calm, steady, and present without explanation. That calm is part of your spiritual authority. Some people stay silent because they sense that careless words will expose them. They feel that speaking freely around you might reveal intentions they would rather keep hidden. Your presence encourages honesty, and not everyone is ready for that. I want to heal something in you now. Many chosen ones develop the habit of self-blame. When a room grows quiet, You assume you did something wrong. You assume you are awkward. You assume you are too much or not enough. That habit must end. The silence you encounter is not evidence of failure. It is evidence of impact. Fear also stays quiet because it listens. Fear wants to gather information. It wants to assess whether you are safe to approach, safe to challenge, safe to ignore. And when it cannot quickly decide, it chooses observation instead of confrontation. There are also those who feel drawn to you but do not know how to express it. They sense wisdom, stability, or peace in you, but they do not have the language to engage with it. So they stare, hoping you will lead, hoping you will speak first, hoping you will make it easier for them. Chosen one, you do not need to rescue people from their hesitation. If someone is meant to connect with you, God will open their mouth in time. If someone is meant to remain distant, their silence will protect you from unnecessary entanglement. This is where discernment becomes your companion. Not every stare is an invitation. Not every silence is admiration. And not every quiet person is meant to come close. Learn to observe without anxiety. Learn to remain grounded without assumption. Your role is not to decode every reaction. Your role is to remain aligned. When spirit recognizes spirit, there is often a pause. And when fear is present, silence follows. That silence is not your enemy. It is information. So the next time you notice eyes watching you and mouths staying closed, relax your shoulders. Stay present. Stay calm. You are not being judged. You are being sensed. And sensing always comes before understanding. Chosen one, when spirit recognizes spirit, words become secondary. And when fear does not know how to speak safely, it stays quiet. You remind them of what they abandoned. Chosen one, I want you to hear this part slowly because it carries healing if you let it settle. One of the deepest reasons people stare at you and say nothing is not because of who you are alone, but because of what you awaken in them. Your presence becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready to face what that mirror reflects. You do not accuse anyone. You do not preach at them. You do not confront them. Yet something in your life quietly reminds them of promises they once made to God, values they once held, and paths they once considered but chose not to walk. That reminder does not need words. It happens simply because you stayed faithful in ways they did not. Many people abandoned their calling long before they abandoned religion. They learned how to survive, how to blend in, and how to numb themselves. But they never forgot the moment they knew God was asking more of them. When they encounter someone who still carries that sincerity, it stirs something uncomfortable. This is where silence enters. Speaking would require honesty. Speaking would require admitting regret. Speaking would require acknowledging the distance from God they have worked hard to ignore. So instead of words, they stare. They observe. They feel the weight of comparison without you ever comparing yourself to them. Chosen one, this is not your burden to carry. You are not responsible for their inner conflict. Your life is not a condemnation. It is a reminder, and reminders can feel painful to those who have learned to live without conviction. Some people become quiet around you because your peace exposes their inner noise. They have learned to live with anxiety, compromise, and distraction. When they stand near someone who is anchored, their imbalance becomes louder inside them. Silence becomes the only way they can cope with that internal contrast. You must understand this clearly so you stop misinterpreting reactions. When someone feels uneasy around you, it does not mean you are unkind. It means you are aligned. Alignment makes misalignment uncomfortable. Light does not attack darkness. It reveals it, and revelation is rarely welcomed by those who are not ready to change. There are people who once prayed like you pray now. They once believed like you believe now. They once trusted God with innocence and fire. But life pressured them, disappointed them, or scared them. Slowly they compromised. Slowly they silenced their conscience. When they meet you, the memory of who they used to be rises up without permission. That memory does not come gently. It comes with grief. It comes with regret. It comes with questions they do not want to answer. So they avoid conversation. They avoid depth. They choose distance masked as politeness. Chosen one, I want to free you from the instinct to dim yourself for the comfort of others. You were not called to lower your light so others can avoid seeing themselves clearly. You were not called to lower your light so others can avoid seeing themselves clearly. God did not preserve your faith so you could apologize for it. Your life is a testimony even when you say nothing. Some people fear engaging with you because they sense that proximity might awaken something they worked hard to bury. They might not be ready to change. They are not ready to surrender. And deep down they know that being close to you would make pretending harder. This is why you must stop trying to over-explain your intentions. You must stop trying to prove you are harmless. Silence is not always hostility. Sometimes it is self-preservation. They are protecting the version of themselves they have settled into. I want to speak directly to your heart now as a teacher and as someone who has walked this road. You are not responsible for rescuing everyone from their past. Jesus himself allowed people to walk away quietly when truth became too heavy. He did not chase them with explanations. He let silence do its work. There is also a deeper layer to this. Some people stare because they see discipline in you. They see restraint. They see that you do not indulge every impulse or follow every crowd. That discipline reminds them of what life could have looked like if they had chosen differently. And discipline, when unchosen, feels like judgment even when no judgment is present. Chosen one, do not mistake their discomfort for your failure to connect. Not everyone is meant to connect with you at the same depth. Some are only meant to witness your journey from a distance. That distance is not rejection. It is design. You may notice that people who are deeply broken often feel drawn to you, while people who are deeply compromised feel unsettled by you. That is not coincidence. Brokenness seeks healing. Compromise seeks concealment. Your presence offers healing, not concealment. There are moments when you walk away from an interaction wondering why it felt heavy, awkward, or tense. That heaviness was not created by you. It was activated by truth. And truth always brings a choice: face it or flee it. Many flee quietly. I want you to release guilt you never earned. You are not arrogant because you stand firm. You are not cold because you are selective. You are not distant because you do not overshare. You are mature. And maturity often intimidates those who are still avoiding growth. This is why silence follows you. Silence gives people space to wrestle with themselves. Silence gives them room to avoid saying something they cannot take back. Silence allows them to keep control of their image a little longer. Chosen one, do not chase conversation to ease tension that God allowed for a reason. Some silences are protective. They keep you from unnecessary emotional labor. They prevent premature intimacy. They preserve your energy for relationships that are aligned with your assignment. Let me ground you in this truth. Your life is not meant to make everyone comfortable. It is meant to be faithful. Comfort is temporary. Faithfulness is eternal. And faithfulness carries a quiet authority that unsettles those who have learned to settle. The mirror you carry will continue to reflect truth wherever you go. Some will turn away. Some will grow curious. Some will eventually return with questions. Your responsibility is not to control the outcome. Your responsibility is to remain who God shaped you to be. So when people stare at you and say nothing, do not assume rejection. Do not assume failure. Do not assume superiority either. Assume encounter. Assume that something sacred brushed against something unresolved. Stand calmly in that space. Remain kind without shrinking. Remain humble without apologizing. The mirror does not speak. It simply reflects. And chosen one, what they see in you is often what they once hoped to see in themselves. Section 5. God trains you in silence before He uses your voice. Chosen one, this is where your confusion begins to transform into peace. Many of you have wondered why God allows you to be watched more than you are engaged, observed more than you are invited, noticed more than you are included. There is a reason for this, and it is not punishment. It is preparation. God has always trained His chosen in silence before trusting them with influence. Silence develops discernment. Noise develops ego. And God is far more interested in your depth than your visibility. When people watch you quietly, they are participating in a season God designed for your refinement, even if they do not know it. Think about this gently. A vessel is tested before it is poured. A sword is tempered before it is wielded. In the same way, God allows you to spend seasons being observed without explanation, questioned without defense, and evaluated without affirmation. This is how inner authority is formed. If God gave you a loud voice before grounding your spirit, your message would be diluted. If He elevated you before strengthening your restraint, attention would distract you. So He allows silence to become your teacher. He allows misunderstanding to become your discipline. He allows isolation to sharpen your listening. Chosen one, silence teaches you how to hear God clearly. When external voices are limited, internal clarity increases. You learn to trust intuition shaped by prayer. You learn to respond slowly. You learn that not every thought needs expression and not every emotion needs display. This is why God allows others to watch you without engaging you deeply. Observation without access protects you while you are still becoming. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your formation. Some are only meant to witness the outline of what God is doing, not the details. You may have noticed that people feel comfortable studying you from a distance but hesitate to step closer. He spoke when aligned, and He remained silent when words would be wasted. Silence was not weakness in Him. It was discernment. And that same discernment is being formed in you. When people stare at you and say nothing, and you rush to fill that space with explanations, you lower yourself into a position you were never meant to occupy. You begin negotiating your presence. You begin apologizing for your nature. Over time, this drains you. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You do not owe clarity to curiosity. You do not owe access to observation. You do not owe explanations to people who have not earned understanding. God designed silence as a filter. Those who are meant to know you will approach with respect. Those who only want to assess, compare, or control will remain at a distance. When you explain